Welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 11th of March. The first important news, that is third session of the National Platform for Disaster Risk Reductions. The Prime Minister has addressed the session. Second, productions and promotions of organic and biofertilizers. A task force report by Niti Aayog is released. We'll see the detail how it is going to help. The third news, that is India-US to launch semiconductor subcommittee. Second last, India's factory output rise for January. We'll see the data. And the last is an editorial, a moment of reckoning for AUKUS and Australia. We'll see the detail about this editorial, how India is going to be impacted and what is India's concern. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And those of you who are preparing for this year prelims examination, we have a comprehensive prelims test series for you. 60 high quality tests with 6,000 plus questions that will be provided along with the IAS gazetted monthly subscriptions. So do check it out. This course are available both online and offline. The tests are designed and aligned as per the syllabus and the requirement of the civil services examination conducted by UPSC. And the test will give you a comprehensive idea about the concepts and clarity that you essentially require to clear the civil services. In a video के descriptions में link दिए हुए, you can register yourself. For more details, you can reach out to your website also. Starting with the first news of the day, that is third sessions of the National Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 3, that is Conservation, Environmental Pollutions, Degradation and EI, and also important for General Studies Paper 2, where government policies and other part is concerned. So recently, Prime Minister has addressed third sessions of National Platform for Disaster Risk Reductions, better known as NPDRR. And in this session, Prime Minister has categorically noted that we need to have basically proactive के अलावे हमें reactive होने की ज़रूरत है in terms of approach where we are handling the part of natural disaster and to minimize the damage. So this is what the statement was quoted by the Prime Minister, that instead of proactive, we need to have a reactive approach. Now, India is one of the most disaster affected countries. And if you see, 50% of our country population is affected due to earthquake, flood, cyclone, droughts or tsunami. So this is again a factual data that is relevant for your examination. And after the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, the world has recognized and appreciated the role of India's disaster management efforts. We already have some institutional setup also. We'll see the detail about that in a later part of the video. Now, उससे पहले theme की अगर बात करें, what was the theme for the third session of this platform? It called for building local resilience in the changing climate. And this session was jointly organized by Ministry of Home Affairs, that is MHA. MHA was the one entity. Even the collaborations of National Disaster Management Authority, that is NDMA, National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, and the National Institute of Disaster Management, NIDM. So this was a collaborative efforts from all this organization. Now there's a 10-point agenda, very, very important for prelims as well as for the mains examination. You need to understand what are the important points in the 10-point agenda for the disaster risk reductions. The first is that all development sector must be imbibed with the principle of disaster risk management. This is the first principle. Second, working towards the risk coverage for all, starting from poor household to SMEs to multinational corporate at national level. तो हमें एक bottom up approach के साथ काम करने की ज़रूरत है, where we are working towards at the ground level. The third point agenda is encouraging the great involvement and leadership of women in disaster. So disaster reductions या disaster management की अगर बात करें, women can play a very significant role and they need to be adequately skilled when situation is there. Now invest in the risk mapping globally for mapping risk related hazards like earthquake that is accepted and the standard parameters is there. So we need to use technology also to ensure that we are having a mapping of all this. Although government of India ने काफी important चीजें, even if you satellite की अगर बात करें, communication satellite has improved a lot where we can have a prior predictions with any kind of natural calamities. Now, leverage technology to enhance the efficacy of our disaster risk management efforts. This can be combined. Now, the development network for universities to work on disaster risk, we need to come up with the important information, the research activities that is going by various universities. Utilize the opportunities to provide social media and mobile technologies. Again, technology can play a very significant role in predicting and mitigating the part of the risk that is there. Building on the local capacity and initiative. So definitely making people aware, the local communities should be aware of the fact that how they need to give an immediate response if any calamity is there. Now, ninth is opportunity to learn from the disaster must not be wasted. After disaster, there must be paper on the lessons that can be readily applied. So post खास करके scrutiny कह सकते हैं आप, even study the outcome and the possibilities that were there for any incident that took place, उसके बारे में research भी होनी चाहिए. And last but not the least is to bring about a greater cohesion of international response to the disaster. So they need to have a collaboration not only at the national level but also at the international level between the agencies, state and other stakeholders. So these are the 10-point important agenda relevant for both prelims and mains examination. Now, there is Apda Prabandhan Puruskar Award 2023, something very important. There can be a direct question in prelims and like for CSC and for many other government examination. If you're preparing, you can use this. So during the program, the Prime Minister facilitated the awardees of Subhash Chandra Bose Apda Prabandhan Puruskar 2023. And this was given to Odisha State Disaster Management Authority, that is OSDMA. And for Mizoram, it was Lunglei Fire Stations in Mizoram. So these two factually important information relevant for examination. Now about NPDRR, agar baat kare, this is a multi-stake platform constituted by Government of India to facilitate the dialogue, sharing experiences, views, ideas, action-oriented research, and even explore the opportunity which is there in the area of disaster risk reductions. तो इस तरह की पॉलिसीज की अगर बात करें, जो नेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर डिजास्टर रिस्क रिडक्शंस है, डायरेक्टली वर्क करती है अंडर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर, समथिंग इंपॉर्टेंट एंड सिग्निफिकेंटली रेलेवेंट फॉर प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन. Now there's law and institutional setup for disaster management. अगर बात करें इसकी इंसेप्शंस की, there was an incident in 2001 where Gujarat earthquake took place. Basically it was there in Kutch, the area is Kutch. And this was the state when first there was a concept that disaster management should be there. There should be a policies on disaster management. तो government ने, जो गुजरात की government ने उसने decide किया, they have come up with the Disaster Risk Management Act. And on that basis, on that premise only, the center has formulated National Disaster Management Act 2005. And subsequent to that, there's a National Disaster Management Authority which is functioning. और उसके साथ साथ नेशनल डिजास्टर जो रिलीफ फोर्स है, जो रिस्पॉन्स फोर्स है, वो भी काम कर रही है इंडिया में. The use of technology, which Prime Minister has categorically focused upon, he said that there's a need for exploration of the technology, चाहे वो artificial intelligence हो, 5G हो, these are the technology that can be there, and even Internet for Things can make the part of ambulance to network future ready, right? Now even he said that the stakeholder must work with the drone, gadgets, alerting and the part of the gadgets that can help in locating the person who are buried, and even the predictions can be made using the technological upgradations part. Now, the nations that is mostly, basically, India is among the top 3 nations with most natural disasters. अगर बात करें number of disasters की जो हुई इंडिया में since 2002 till 2019, if you see, China is the most prone, followed by United States, then India is third, followed by Philippines and Indonesia. And death in the deadliest natural disaster is seen in the Indian Ocean tsunami, then Hatai earthquake, Myanmar cyclone, China's earthquake, and Pakistan earthquake in 2005. So these are some of basic information as an aspirant you should know out of your curiosity. Now, something important for General Studies Paper 2, the topic is productions and promotions of organic and biofertilizers. This is the second news. Relevant for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic Government Policies and Intervention for the Development of Various Sectors and Issues Arising from it, Design and Implementation. So, नीति आयोग ने एक report release की है. We'll see what are the details of that report. The Niti Aayog has released a report titled as the Productions and Promotions of Organic and Biofertilizers with emphasis on improving the economic viability of gaushalas or cow shelters, right? So according to the report, the Niti Aayog has said that the cow shelters can become a major suppliers for input of natural farming in the country. Very important, very significant. You can expect a direct question in mains examination, right? And even for the prelims, there can be questions which is related to the part of organic farming, natural farming, manures, and biofertilizers. Now, achieving the target would require concentrated efforts, जहाँ पे नीति आयोग ने कहा है that government, private players and the entrepreneur can play a very important role in improving the part of natural farming using the natural fertilizers, right? So this was a detailed report which was published by Niti Aayog Task Force. The report is there in the public domain. If you want to read out, you do check it out Niti Aayog website, and I'll suggest you just go through the way forward which is there, right? So way forward ही आपके लिए sufficient होगा. The promotions of natural farming and organic farming is something that Niti Aayog has pitched for. It says that realization is there in the recent time कि जो agro products हैं, that is serving in the recent time it has been there that there's a reductions in the replacing of agro products and moving towards the plant nutrients, even calling for economic, health and environment sustainability, right? So this is helping. It is not something it has a single pointed benefit. It has multi benefits, which is also helping the environment and also in the part of the productions. Accordingly, ये trend देखी गई that natural farming and organic farming, where the inorganic fertilizers and organic chemicals are replaced with the manure, plant-based product, bio inputs, वहाँ पे cow dungs और cow urine जैसी चीजें भी incorporate की जा रही है to enhance the part of productions. Now, the task force felt that the gaushalas or cow shelters must help in promoting the natural farming and organic farming in the country. Now, how gaushalas or cow shelter is going to help? This image is from the task force page, जो कि नीति आयोग की report ने publish किया. I've taken this image from there only. So, gaushalas can help in three important segments. The first being the biofuel, second is organic and biofertilizers, and third is other. तो पहले अगर बायोफ्यूल की बात करें, इसमें दो कंपोनेंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, बायोगैस एंड बायो सीएनजी. In organic and biofertilizers, there is phosphate-rich organic manure, which is also known as PROM. Then there's compost or vermicomposting, which is that. Third is biofertilizers, and fourth is natural farming inputs. Right, so this can be there. And the other parts of the gaushalas that can be used is like dung pots, dung bricks, paints, and handicrafts. So these are the part. They have some multifaceted benefits that can be there for the gaushala. So this is a broad perspective which Niti Aayog has elaborated on the part of different products that can have a value additions from the gaushalas. Now, advantages of cow shelters की अगर बात करें, with image, this is the image which is evident of the fact that this is a problem, right? अगर बात करें इंडिया में, so slattery cattles की एक बहुत बड़ी problems है. नीति आयोग ने इस problem को highlight किया and said that this need to be addressed because these cattles are creating damage to even crops and problem for many urban lifestyles. Even in transportation system, you find in the local roads, in the main roads of the city, there's a problem. So it said that the number of stray and abundant cattle need to be good with the resources. जितनी available resources है, जो infrastructure होनी चाहिए, वो proper नहीं. The reason being they are hindering out to the local places. Now, according to the report, the population of stray cattle is estimated to be around 53 lakh, which is again huge. Now, one important point of the discussion is that Niti Aayog has categorically highlighted the adherence to Article 48. What is Article 48? This is the part of DPSP, राइट। तो डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसीज हैं, उसके अंदर ये चीजें मेंशन है। और रिपोर्ट ने हाईलाइट किया है दैट द काउ डंग बेस्ड ऑर्गेनिक फर्टिलाइजर्स would have a huge impact fulfilling the constitutional mandate under Article 48. So what does the Article 48 says? As per the Indian Constitution, it's one of the directive principle which directs the state government or the state to make efforts for banning the animal slaughtering of cows, calves, and the part of milch and draught cattle. And it further states to organize the animal and animal husbandry, the agriculture and modern and scientific lines, right? So this is something that should be promoted as a part of Article 48. If you want to read more, you can directly revisit to this article. This is a part of policies under the directive principle of state policies. Now, India US to launch semiconductor subcommittee, something important for general studies paper 2, that is the effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. So recently, India and United States have signed memorandum of understanding, जहाँ पे commercial dialogue establish की गई है for the semiconductor. Yesterday also I have discussed this news with you. I'm discussing this news to give you the development that has took place between India and United States in terms of semiconductor development, right? तो यहाँ collaborations हुई है with Department of Commerce, that is between the United States and Ministry of Electronics and IT and Ministry of Commerce. तो इंडिया की तरफ से ये दो मिनिस्ट्रीज हैं और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स की तरफ से डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कॉमर्स. There is the first engagement of a subcommittee that is expected to take place before the end of 2023. Now, key themes क्या रही इस डायलॉग की? First is resilient and secure supply chain, facilitating the climate and clean technology corporations, inclusive digital growth, talent development including skilling, focus on cooperative on quality standard, and last but not the least is the post-pandemic economic recovery, especially for the MSME and startups. क्या एडवांटेजेस होंगे इस तरह के सेमीकंडक्टर्स के जो एग्रीमेंट है, हाउ दैट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प बोथ इंडिया एंड यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स? डेफिनेटली इट विल हैव अ लॉन्गर इम्पैक्ट एंड एडवांटेजेस. तो कमर्शियल डायलॉग की अगर बात करें, इट विल एनहांस द पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट एफर्ट्स to promote industries cooperations in semiconductor sector where India definitely has a potential, right? Now, in terms of identifying the opportunities and challenges, they will be addressed to US and India semiconductor industries, which will be collaborating on the part of supply chain of the semiconductor. And both countries are expected to have an interest with developing for next generation standard in communications, including the 6G technology will take place. इंडिया और यूएस की ट्रेड वैल्यू की अगर बात करें, डेफिनेटली इट इज इंक्रीजिंग. लाइक यूएस एंड इंडिया इज द लार्जेस्ट एक्सपोर्टर ऑफ द ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर, वाइल इंडिया इज द 9th लार्जेस्ट ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर विद यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. जो बायलैटरल मर्चेंडाइज की बात करें, दिस इज फॉर अप्रैल एंड जनवरी, दिस स्टूड अप टू 108.43 billion, and both nation aims to have bilateral trade of 500 billion by 2025. So if you're writing, if you are a aspirant who is having optional of PSIF, तो इस तरह के डेटा आपके लिए काफी रेलेवेंट होंगे. Now, US is also the third biggest sources for foreign direct investment and one of the top 5 investment in India, right? So these are the data of India's export to the United States of America. Now, the other news, that is India's factory output rise in January, something important for general studies paper 3 under the subtopic, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So as per the latest statistics which is there from the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation के data के हिसाब से इंडिया की जो इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथ आउटपुट है, that has reached up to 5.2% in January. It was earlier at 4.7%. So this fluctuation must be noted that India has achieved. Now sector wise performance की अगर बात करें, डबल डिजिट सर्ज देखी गई है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेशंस में. And even for the consumer durable, in the second month, it has declined to 7.5 in January. December, it has saw 11% in the consumer durable output. Manufacturing की अगर बात करें, it is 3.7%. Despite it was struggling low at 1.9% during 2022. And the indices on the industrial productions of mining, manufacturing, electricity sectors for 2023 was 135, 144 and 186 respectively. प्राइमरी गुड्स आउटपुट देखें, In the primary good output, it grew up to 9.6%, and the capital good grew up to 11%. The intermediate good output was 0.1%. Construction with grew 8.1%. Of durable output grew to 6.2%. And moving to the editorial of the day, that is the moment of reckoning with AUKUS in Australia, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So what are the issues under this editorial? First is about the AUKUS in Australia. We'll see some background. Apart from that, there's a concern with Australia, options that is given to Australia, that is available to Australia. And technology transfer is complicated. We'll see that. What is the India's concern and the bottom line. Now, AUKUS की अगर बात करें, it's a new trilateral security partnership for the Indo-Pacific between the countries like United States, United Kingdom, and Australia. So 3 countries are the part of AUKUS, and the week ahead is likely to be crucial for Australia, right? Why? Because under AUKUS deal, Australia would obtain 8 state-of-art nuclear-powered but conventional submarine capable for seating long and range missions, which has raised concern not only for other countries but also for India. Now, what are the concern mostly that is there? So the main issues with Australia is that many of the regional partners oppose the Royal Australian Navy operating with the nuclear attack submarines, and such as Indonesia had also made the reservation to the part. और इंडिया की अगर बात करें, इंडिया ने पॉलिटिकली ऑकस को सपोर्ट किया, बट इस तरह के जो सबमरीन्स हैं, इंडिया इज ऑल्सो रिलक्टेंट ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ गिविंग देयर ओपिनियन एंड दे डोंट डेफिनेटली वांट दैट दिस शुड नॉट बी एक्सप्लोर्ड. Now, officials have attempted to distinguish between the AUKUS and other groups like Quad, जहाँ पे India, US, Japan और Australia जैसे member countries हैं. Now, it will be seen in a context whether the Quad, which is again an important forum, how their members will be appreciated in this context. Now, Australia described that the Quad as a normative group and lays the visions for regional and AUKUS and more technical arrangement. Now, options क्या है Australia के पास? There's some option left with Australia. So there's a following consultation which is there with AUKUS partnership in recent month, and 3 main options that has emerged. First, the Australia के officials हैं, they are choosing a path where they're building a nuclear power attack submarines for Australia, like whether they should proceed or not. This is again a global challenge, and even the part of US has made it clear that they will be going ahead further with this discussion. Now, the top US senator has wrote to the US president in January urging him not to sell nuclear submarines to Australia, warning that it could jeopardize the US national security given the vessel scarcity. So US की तरफ से भी कुछ concerns वहाँ के internal चल रहे हैं, but again, let's see what and how it is going to proceed further. Now, the second option is that UK to expand the Austin class program to the Australia. And even this is something they're constructing with the Dreadnought class ballistic missile submarines, which is called as SSBN program, which is well designed Austin class replacement and subsequently building process. So whether this transition will work out or not, that we'll also see in the longer run. The third most important point of the option is the trilateral efforts to develop with the new class submarine designs. And Australia could announce modification in the versions जहाँ पे वो next generation attack submarines और UK के जो submersive nuclear replacement है since program है will be ever completed with the new AUKUS class design to acquired by the 3 countries, the member countries. Now, end technology transfer is complicated in this context because the nuclear technology is difficult under the international system. Proliferation is prohibited. So Australia is to operate with the nuclear power submarines with high enriched uranium, जैसे HUB कहते हैं, with a fuel reactor, and this can exploit the loopholes allowing the non-nuclear weapons countries to withdraw the fissile material and for the submarine reactors that can be there by the International Atomic Energy Monitor stockpiles. So IEA monitor करती है सारी stockpilings को, and they take cognizance of it, and after the assent which is given by the IEA, the part of the exploration can be increased or even can be monitored. तो यहाँ देखना होगा कैसे न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर्स ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लिए कॉम्प्लिकेशंस हो सकती हैं. Now, what is India's concern? Definitely, India is acquiring the nuclear propulsion technology. Like, it is complicated, and definitely India said that India is not a party to NPT, right? India with a part which is not a party to a nuclear proliferation treaty, and complexity involved the transfer of technology in HU field reactors and nuclear attack submarines. US can leave with only practical options, buying a high power reactor from the France. Now India के पास ये options हैं, because India is not a part of focus. Even for the Quad, the members are not providing. Now India will be left out with options to go to France if they're willing to buy it. Now, India will never be in the same league with the US partnership as Australia, because acquiring critical technology will remain more daunting prospect for India. Even अगर बात करें रशिया के साथ S-400 मिसाइल सिस्टम की जो कोलैबोरेशन हुई थी, उसके लिए भी काटसा की सैंक्शंस के लिए यूएस ने पिच की. Now, bottom line, India will need to work in a transitional institutional arrangement, जहाँ पे like-minded countries के साथ एक symbiotic relationship partnership बनाने की जरूरत है, which call for collaborative future and alliances, and sooner it should have an optimal pathway. अगर AUKUS की बात करें, जहाँ पे implication समझने की जरूरत है, not only for Australia but for other neighboring countries, because it will have a repercussion if things are proceeded. So this is to ensure that the global geopolitics order are put in place and no countries are there with a conflict of interest that is ongoing with the deal between Australia and United States. So this is how you can conclude the bottom line. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is A. Today's MCQ for practice. Consider the following statement about technology, that is intermediary guideline जो digital media ethics code है. It is jointly administered by the IT and BS10. It is appointed a nodal office that can contact it for 24/7, which can be the resident of India. Second is Hawk Air Defense Equipment. आपको statement बतानी दोनों में से कौन सी correct है. That it entered with the US Army in 1959 during the Vietnam War, and it's a medium range air-to-air missile, right? So air-to-air missile or not, do check it out. So practicing a lot more question will give you an edge for the upcoming prelims examination, and this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. You can reach out to us and be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.